Hey, let's close out with a little bit of college football talk. Cause you got a college football 6-pack ready?
I do. I most
I,
definitely do.
I got nothing for you on the college football, man.
Hey, I don't blame you. I don't bet on those kids either.
Yeah, I'm just gonna let it be known that I lost $1,500 last week on Purdue, or not Purdue. Sorry,
Notre Dame.
First half. I mean, versus Toledo. I'm gonna leave. I'm not touching the college football.
You definitely got to wait to the mid season into the playoffs for college football, man, because it's just so hit and miss. So big week in college football. You got Ohio State getting upset by Oregon. I think Oregon is showing Oregon. Who was that? Utah and UCLA are trying to bring the Pac-12 back to prominence with the way they've built their teams through the trenches, like an SEC team. You have Florida State getting upset by Jacksonville State, and we thought Florida State was back. Yeah, right.
That shit was unreal.
And then we got Sark. We got Sark getting his introduction to SEC football and getting his ass kicked. Oh man, we better watch out for him because he might need to learn from his lessons. Put the bottle down, Sark. So man, I still don't have a good grasp of what college football is going to look like this year. I mean, Georgia looks like we're going to be good, but we'll see. Clemson, I don't know what they are yet with DJ. Alabama looks like Alabama, but are they really going to go back to back? And
that's where the money should go. If you're betting on anyone in college football, it's got to be them.
And I mean, we got Ohio State who blew one. What happens if Penn State comes out this week and beats Auburn convincingly and makes a push for the Big Ten? I don't know, but I think the most important college football story is the USC vacancy because Clay Helton got the fuck up out of here.
Should have been fired. That guy should have been fired like 2 years ago.
Bro, if they fire him last year, they have Urban Meyer right now because he was in LA at the time. Like, and he doesn't have to go down to Jacksonville and ruin Trevor Lawrence's first 3 years in the NFL.
Well, and not to mention, God, so harsh. Not to mention
for the big leagues.
Not to mention, who was Urban working with out there in LA on Fox? Who is he working with?
Bob Stoops. No. Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush. Sorry,
exactly. Bob Stoops' job. He would have fit in perfectly and would have been right there. And then I know that you're kind of leaning towards this, and then we got to get into who we think can take the job. And the man that replaced Urban Meyer on that set, Bob Stoops, would be the perfect fit for USC. They're getting a name coach, a guy that's won a national championship, was super. I didn't even realize how consistent he was. You know that like in a 18-year span, or it was like 16 or 17-year span, that man won 12 Big 12 titles. Like, that's unheard of. That's unbelievable when you really look at it. And at first I was kind of saying, he's kind of like Mark Richt, but with a national championship. No, he's a hell of a lot better than Mark Richt. Mark Richt only won 2 SEC titles in his time in Georgia. Stoops would be the perfect fit. He's not too old. He's an older school coach, but if you're trying to get a name that is out there that's not, on another team, I think that they should go with Stoops.
I like Bieniemy, and I know I got some pushback in the group text, but here's why I like Bieniemy. He brings that NFL flair to USC, and I'm stealing some of this from Cal Hurd. What was Pete Carroll? He's the NFL guy.
Kyle Gessel.
He can. I don't think he have any problems recruiting just from like he's a Southern California guy. He's coached Patrick Mahomes, and as long as he builds the right staff, he can go to USC and be there as long as he wants to. And then if he wants to go to the league from there, he can pick his job. Because one of the things about the NFL is it's hard to get a good NFL job. It's hard to get a good NFL owner when, especially for these black coaches, like you go to a tire fire with a crazy owner and a GM who's going to get fired a year after they hire you. So then a new GM is going to come in and be ready to fire you for the quickest thing, and they don't give you time to turn around the place. You get to USC, they're going to give you 3 years to bring your people in, build up the program. And once you got your guys, once you got that factory moving, you're there as long as you want to be there. USC is better than over half of the NFL jobs, if we're being honest. You're going to get the same pay. You got the appeal of Southern California to get those recruits. And like I said, if you have a top recruiter on your staff, you're there forever. Pete left. Why? Because of the sanctions and stuff, not because he couldn't win. It's just like Saban. Once you get that factory moving, Chip Kelly, once you get that factory moving, it's just wash, rinse, and repeat. In the name of USC, people are going to want to go there while they're good.
Yeah, and I think that they would want to get it back to looking like it did, in that run with Bush and Leinart, Carson Palmer too, a little bit before them, where Snoop Dogg is on the sidelines. You know what I mean? Like you're saying, it looked like a Lakers game almost. And so I think it's definitely a terrific job because these jobs don't open up like that. You know what I mean? Your Ohio State, because when we're talking brands in college football, there's like 5 that are just, no matter what they are, always going to be a brand. USC is one of them. And so, like you said, from a location standpoint, it's not a college town. You're in Tinseltown. You're with LeBron, AD, and Russ. You've got all these other winners kind of around you.
And LeBron has no problem. LeBron has no problem pitching his trailer to a bandwagon college team. And come on, Drake in a USC jersey on the sidelines, he probably got one waiting. So they say James Franklin's a candidate. If you listen to his interview, it sounds like
he's not saying that he won't. Either that or Penn State's going to have to pay him again. They got to give him more money to stay.
Brian Kelly, maybe.
I think he likes the Notre Dame job is one of those jobs too. And, I'd rather live in California than South Bend, but it is still Notre Dame. And, the luxury that they have is that they're not in a conference either, So that job, I don't know. The Notre Dame job is a special job. I've never been, but from what Justice told me, he went to a game because one of his buddies played at Notre Dame. He said it's crazy. It's crazy just being up there, the allure of Notre Dame. And obviously they've got high academic standards. I don't think Kelly would leave.
I don't know. You got anything here with Major Parlay?
On college sports, not college football.
All right, y'all. So thanks for this show.
Nothing good to say about Notre Dame either.
We're missing one thing before we sign off. Let me give you the 6-pack.
Sorry, I love to make fun of hardball. Oh yeah, let me get your college football 6-pack before I go on my Cam Newton rant.
All right, this one is piping hot, boys. Give me the Alabama first quarter spread -3.5. Easy money against Florida. They're going to blow doors on them. Florida is not good. Emory Jones is not good. They're just not on the same field as Alabama. And I get it. It's going to be in the swamp. There's going to be a lot of, gator clapping. It's going to be all
gator bait.
But they're going to get that ass tore into to start that game. And certainly, I think 3.5 is more than a reasonable number to lay. And after the Miami game, they had Alabama by 6.5 against Miami in week 1. And I took it, beat the shit out of them in that. I think they were up 14-0 or something like that. I don't see a scenario where Alabama doesn't score a touchdown and Florida can't score a touchdown. Alabama, at a minimum, will get 7, and at a max, Florida gets 3. That still covers. Give it to me. I'll take that 3.5. Another one, easy money, first quarter. Give me Clemson -7 against Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech lost at home against Northern Illinois. This is Clemson's first real game since the Georgia game because I don't know who they played last week, and I don't think anyone does. So, but they beat the hell out of them because it was, it was a game that they paid for. They paid them to whoop that ass. They finally get their ACC schedule kicked off. Give me that -7. At worst, it'll be a push. At worst. But give me the -7. Next game. I know that Texas is on a lot of people's shit list after what they did last week, but they're playing Rice for Christ's sake. And they changed the quarterback, which they should have been starting this kid from the get-go. I don't know why Sark didn't start him because he's the guy that closed out for Ellinger last year and looked great in the bowl game. He looked electric. That guy can play. Plus, he came in against Arkansas and scored 2 touchdowns once they did put him in. Give me Texas on -26 against Rice. Next one, another big spread. Just not a believer in Nebraska after what they did to me in week 1. I just couldn't fucking believe that they couldn't beat Illinois. It really did blow my mind. Give me Oklahoma minus 22.5 against Nebraska. I think that Spence is going to get out there. He's going to be playing a little pitch and catch. And they're going to want to make a statement against their old Big 12 rival. Next one. Give me the under in the Auburn at Penn State game. They've got it set at 53. This is going to be a defensive war. Neither of these teams scream points. And I just don't see a scenario where Bo Nix is just slinging on Penn State. Penn State's going to have the whiteout going. This is like their first whiteout in a minute, obviously, because they didn't have fans last year. Crowd's going to be electric. Give me that under 53. And then my final one. I'm hopping right back on the bandwagon. They're just going to have to prove me wrong. Purdue at Notre Dame. Give me Notre Dame minus 6.5. I believe that they're going to cover that spread and win by a touchdown at home against Purdue. Purdue is known for Boilermakers and engineers, not fucking football teams. Notre Dame, football is what they're known for. I expect them to bounce back after having a scare last week against Toledo, and they should cover that with ease.
All right, so just to recap for Parlay Pete's college football six-pack, we got Alabama minus 3.5 first quarter. Clemson minus 7 first quarter. Texas to cover minus 26.
Yep.
Oklahoma to cover minus 22.5. Auburn versus Penn State under 53. And Notre Dame to cover at minus 6.5.
Yep. And that's at plus 5,000 odds, guys. So you do the math. $100 gets you $5,000.
Good money.
All right, man. Thank you guys so much. Really enjoyed it. We'll recap in the group text. I'll clip the videos and have them ready to run tomorrow morning.
For sure. It was a pleasure.
All right, dog. I'll see y'all.
Always a pleasure. I appreciate it again.
No problem.
All right.